Hey there, everyone. Jim here with Fantasy for the Ages, bringing to you one of our rapid review episodes today, where in approximately 10 minutes, I'm going to totally review and, in good deal, spoil Memories of Ice, Book 3 of my journey through Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erikson. If you have not read this book, this is not a safe episode for you unless you don't care and you just want to hear the goods. If you enjoy this episode, please go ahead and like it down below here on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We love all the new subscribers we've been seeing. Come join, be part of our Fantasy for the Ages family. Speaking of, look down in the show notes for all the other ways you can connect with us also. Social media, Patreon, become one of our supporters and get some extra benefits, and Discord, and come chat with us over there on our Discord server. Fun stuff. This book is the one where I 100% know with confidence that I freaking love this series. I mean, book one, Gardens of the Moon, was a bit of a complicated mess, just tossing you in and hoping you can follow and catch up with where the story was headed, and I did, and I appreciated it. Book two, Dead House Gates, was something completely different and only included a small smattering of the characters that I'd become familiar with in Gardens of the Moon. For much of that story, it felt disconnected from book one, though we come to realize that isn't entirely the truth. Heck, that's not the truth at all, but you've got to survive the journey through the story to get to that understanding. Honestly, Erikson does a fantastic job of bringing the reader through a similar experience as the Malazan army and the thousands of refugees experience as they struggle across that whole continent for a slight hope of salvation. Yeah, that's what it's like at times getting through that book. But for those who survive, oh, the payoff was huge. Now, book three, Memories of Ice. We reconnect with the characters from Gardens of the Moon and what feels like the primary storyline. We get glimpses of the events of Dead House Gates, just some minor touches so we know that's going on. This is about the epic, world encompassing, reality bending events that are happening not only on the mortal plane, but amongst the gods. It really brings new meaning to the word epic in epic fantasy. So, what do we know now? The world as we know it exists only through the action of gods who took it upon themselves to damn another god, and ascended who are taking actions for their own reasons as they sense appropriate. There's some crippled god who's involved who wasn't from here, was brought down here, and things have been a mess ever since. But now he's ready to make some moves, apparently. I mean, he's in bondage, he's broken, but he's not gone. He can't be gone. He's immortal. And now he seems ready to regain agency and make a direct impact on the world, something he hasn't been able to do for a long time. His previous intentions and attitude were more like, hey, let's just burn it all down. So his impact may burn it all down. Much is unknown here. Amongst the interplay between the gods, we have the elder gods, we've got lower gods, and then we just have other immortal beings who act for various reasons. Players such as Animander Rake, the Son of Darkness, Kaladin Brood, a key battle leader and ally of Rake, and a possessor of a hammer. He has this hammer that could apparently break the world. Then there's Calor. I don't like Calor. I don't think we're supposed to. He's got a complicated backstory, kind of palsy with that crippled god, apparently. And we find out that's still true. And in a key part of this story, he betrays everybody because he's still working for the other team. Memories of Ice has a focus plot that all the other things we learn are wrapped around. And that plot is the rise of the Panyan a force that is sweeping across the continent of Genebakis, where we were for Gardens of the Moon for most of it, where we saw the Battle of Pale and the shenanigans that happened at Dirigistan. It turns out the leader of this force, the Panyan Seer, is actually a Jagat, a race of people who were prominent before the time of humanity, and whom were the mortal enemies of the Talanamas. I don't understand all of that yet. We're getting pieces along the way. But this story, Memories of Ice, is the story of how the Panyan Seer is stopped. And that's a whole thing. The Talanamas. We've encountered a few of these warriors before, undead creatures who conducted a ritual before they were undead that turned them into undying warriors so that they might last long enough to hunt down and wipe out every last Jagat. We're not sure why. I mean, there were Jagat tyrants who were horrible, yes, but all of them? I don't know. It seemed maybe overkill. But that ritual, it was a mistake. And in this book, they are gathering again, all of them that are remaining, essentially to try to end their never ending existence. Which brings us to Silver Fox, the magical being who was created as an amalgamation of three mages previously killed in Book 1: Tattersail, Belladon, and Nightchill, along with some other things. Silver Fox is quite the magical being, but things don't go with her precisely the way the Talana Moss had hoped. Ganos Perrin returns in this story and takes on a far more prominent role, as he has magically become the master of the deck. This has to do with the deck of houses, and he has some special authority and magical abilities that are still being discovered regarding the ascended beings like those of House Death, House Life, and House Shadow. He also was formerly in love with the mage Tattersail. He was crushed when she was killed, and now that she's kind of back in Silver Fox, there's a rather complicated relationship going on there. Oh, there is so much to this book that is epic. But what it ends up focusing in on for the climax is twofold. First, the Lost Cause battle to hold off the Panyan Domin while they attack Kapustan. There's an alliance of Animander Rake, his Tistiandi, and all his allies, along with the Bridge Burners, who formerly were their enemies here on this continent, but they've rebelled against the Empress of the Malazan army. But have they? No, they haven't really. They all figured this out eventually. But anyways, the whole fake rebellion thing was so that they could team up. Because Rake couldn't team up with the Malazan Empire. That just wasn't happening. Anyways, they're rushing to try to help the people of Kapustan, and they're not going to get there in time. We see this epic struggle of the Grey Swords, a zealous religious mercenary force who's hired to try to help Kapustan, but it's a failing cause. But it leads us to meet some amazing new characters, some of whom do live and continue to be part of this story now. But the greater climax then takes place at Coral, another city on the continent where the forces of the Panyan Seer await a final confrontation. They are here in their full strength, saying, come on, bring it. Sacrifices are made at this point, at the end of the story. The tide turns again and again, and victory is finally achieved, but only with great loss, including most especially the death of Whiskey Jack. Come on! You knew there was something funny going on when he refused to have his leg fully healed. Why? We still don't know why. His leg gives out at a crucial moment, and Calor, that blankety blank, kills him when really Whiskey Jack was going to win. Okay, there's something going on that we're going to learn more about there later, I predict. We also get to see that, in the end, Panyan Seer isn't killed. He's actually given a new chance to do something better, an act of mercy and justice created by Ganos Perrin, with the assistance of Quick Ben, whom we learn is actually a high mage posing as less. And that's done now. Speaking of high mages, part of why that's done is there's another one around who's been hiding, Tayshren, who in Gardens of the Moon we thought was just horrible, and no, apparently he's just been acting on orders all along and has been hiding out right amongst the bridge burners instead of abandoning them when it seemed like earlier he tried to kill them all. He's just been playing the necessary role for the time, and apparently he's a good guy. Maybe. Questions I'm left with to wrap up this episode. The landscape of the gods and ascended beings keeps changing. When will it stop? Will it stop? The god Fenner is apparently not a god anymore. He was the god of the gray swords, and they don't have him anymore. Of course, the gray swords are gone now. Fenner fell to the mortal plane. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but I'm assuming we're going to see him again as a mortal, as a powerful immortal. I don't know, but I'm looking for it. The crippled god wants to move into action through the reappearing House of Chains. Apparently, Perrin is inclined to allow this, which is his option as the master of the deck. Some think this is going to be horrible, and some are like, well, you're the guy for a reason. Maybe you should do it. What will be the ramifications? We've learned now that the magical warrens, the pathways of magic, the conduits that the mages use and others to tap into magical abilities, they're actually blood vessels of the god Krull, an elder god. But now we've met Krull, or at least his avatar, the merchant priest Karuli. Krull, Karuli. It's not too far off, actually. Krull is apparently a present player as Karuli. So, but the Warrens are still his body. Omnipresence? I don't know. We got more to learn here, too. And we still don't entirely know what's going on with perhaps my favorite character, Krupp, this unique individual from Darujistan. He seems to have more going on and know more than anyone possibly should. I mean, how did he not die from that hammer blow in this book? I mean, the hammer missed. It shouldn't have missed. He should have been struck down. He's connected to all of this in some very special ways. I look forward to learning more. We're left with more questions than answers, but I definitely look forward to continuing this journey through Malazan Book of the Fallen. I'm in love with this series. It's amazing. There's a lot of books to go, and I'm along for the ride. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.